belongings. A local Los Angeles TV station broke the story that a 13-year-old boy accused Jackson of molesting him. Within 24 hours, it was the lead story around the world. Michael vehemently denied the allegations. Diane Diamond reported the case for hard copy. Diamond claims a source provided her with a copy of the confidential child welfare file of the alleged victim.
What struck me most about this original paperwork was the rendition and the detail from this child, what he said happened. There were very, very specific details about what happened in what hotels in what cities all over the world.
When Diamond went on the air with her first report, she couldn't believe the reaction.
Once we put the original story on the air, the phone never stopped ringing. I got calls from Gary, Indiana. I got calls from California. I got calls from Europe. I got calls from all over the world to tell me what people knew about Michael Jackson.
On August 23, 1993, a Jackson spokesman issued a statement claiming that Michael was the target of a multi-million-dollar extortion plot by the boy's father, an aspiring screenwriter.
A demand for $20 million was made and presented. It was flatly and consistently refused.
The father denied the extortion allegations. A major media organization hired private investigator Don Crutchfield to look into the case.
You know, I was privy to the police report, the child service report, even the boy's deposition. This kid doesn't change a word.
In court documents, the boy alleged that Jackson began crying when the boy protested Michael's open-mouthed kisses. The document went on to describe various sexual acts in graphic detail. The boy claimed these acts went on over a period of months. Jackson denied all of the allegations. Despite the media storm, Jackson kept on touring. Michael turned 35 on August 29, 1993. When he performed in Singapore that night, a capacity crowd sang happy birthday. But the next day, Jackson collapsed backstage. He canceled the next concert, claiming physical exhaustion.
Oh, I don't think the stress of his allegations have anything to do with it. Family don't believe any of the allegations, and we fully support him.
And our position is we support our brother. We love our brother. We know none of these things are true. He's very tired. He was tired before he started this tour.
Michael's a hard-working guy on stage, and I don't believe it's the first time he's canceled 3 shows in a short distance. It
has a lot to do with the humidity. Is very hot there, and the fact that he was tired and not feeling too well before he left.
That September, the parents of the 13-year-old boy filed a $30 million civil suit accusing Jackson of sexual battery, negligence, and fraud. Once again, Jackson denied the charges. Meanwhile, Michael recovered. He played to adoring fans in Taipei, Moscow, Istanbul, and Buenos Aires. But on November 12th, Jackson abruptly aborted his tour in Mexico City. Michael claimed he needed treatment for an addiction to painkillers. Friend Elizabeth Taylor flew to his side.
I saw for myself that Michael was in desperate need of specialized medical attention. Because of my own experience with addiction to prescription medicines, I was able to make a number of calls in search of the best and most appropriate treatment for Michael.
And Michael Jackson left with Elizabeth Taylor in a private jet and went to England and checked into a drug rehab. Well, that keeps him out of the country.
Michael's world seemed to be falling apart. Concert promoter Marcel Avram filed a $20 million lawsuit against the singer, alleging breach of contract. Then, Pepsi canceled its 9-year multi-million-dollar endorsement deal with Jackson. Michael finally returned to Neverland on December 20th, 1993. 2 days later, he addressed the world on television.
It brings tears to my eyes when I see any child who suffers. I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. It is of loving children of all ages and races. It is of gaining sheer joy from seeing children with their innocent and smiling faces. It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself.
1993 marked a disastrous year for Michael Jackson. The 35-year-old pop star faced accusations of child molestation, received treatment for a drug habit, and canceled a concert tour. Jackson claimed the charges against him for sexual battery were bogus. Michael maintained the boy's father wanted to shake him down for money, but prosecutors weren't buying Jackson's theory. On January 24, 1994, the LA District Attorney announced he wouldn't pursue the extortion case. The next day, Michael Jackson reportedly paid millions to settle a lawsuit against him. Jackson continued to maintain his innocence.
I said to him, are you aware of the fact that people will forevermore think that you were guilty because you paid this kid so much money? And Michael said he just didn't care. He said that, I need to get on with my life.
It's my understanding that this boy got at least $20 million, maybe even more than that.
But prosecutors weren't done with Jackson. Grand juries in Los Angeles and Santa Barbara began hearing evidence of child molestation in early 1994.
I know officers from both LAPD and the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department were out actively interrogating people.
In the midst of the investigation, Michael Jackson threw a punch that no one saw coming. On May 26th, Michael married Elvis's daughter, 26-year-old Lisa Marie Presley, in a secret ceremony in the Dominican Republic.
She started to take a real interest in Michael Jackson about the time that he was going through the accusations of child molestation. I don't know how she knew that he was innocent, but she assumed he was. And that seemed to blossom into some kind of romance.
When news of the wedding broke that August, the press moved in for the kill.
And then, lo and behold, he went back to Neverland and she went back to her mansion in Los Angeles. And they never lived with one another thereafter. I think that the marriage to Lisa Marie was definitely designed to show the world that he is a stud.
In September 1994, prosecutors in California announced a surprise of their own. They closed their investigation into the child molestation allegations against Jackson without filing charges.
The district attorney at Santa Barbara himself said there was 2 other children that had accused Michael Jackson of molestation, but he couldn't do anything about it because one of the boys went out of the country and the other boy went out of his jurisdiction, and they didn't want to talk about it.
There were 2 other children who said that Michael hugged and kissed them. Well, I've got a confession for you, because you know something? I've hugged and kissed every single member of the Jackson family, so I guess I must be one of them.
Concert promoter Marcel Avrams' $20 million lawsuit was also settled out of court. With his legal battles behind him, Michael tried to get his life back on track. Jackson's new album, History, dropped in October 1994 and immediately went to #1. But after only 2 weeks, History was history. The first single failed to crack the top 40. That fall, Michael decided to face his fans one more time. But Jackson never made it. On December 6th, Michael collapsed on stage during a rehearsal for an HBO special. Jackson was rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with dehydration and inflammation of the stomach. The performance was canceled.
People were concerned. There were bills to be paid. There's a lot of people making money on Michael Jackson. But it wasn't like he had a dread disease or anything. The guy was just overworked.
Michael's wife flew to his side, but the relationship was on the rocks. Then, in January 1996, Lisa Marie filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The marriage lasted just 20 months.
I think she was caught up in the excitement of Michael Jackson's world at the beginning. I think that changed when she saw that she was not his principal focus of interest.
The breakup didn't seem to faze Michael at all.
Just a month later, there he was in Paris, hoofing it and jumping up and down and enjoying himself with a bunch of kids wearing hats and looking just like him.
The divorce from Lisa Marie Presley didn't shock anyone. But in November 1996, Michael stunned the world by announcing that he was going to be a father. The mother, 33-year-old Debbie Rowe, was already 6 months pregnant.
They met in the early 1980s. She was an assistant to a Beverly Hills dermatologist, and Michael was a patient.
Debbie Rowe is an absolute charm. She is delightful. She is kind.
Of course, part of the Michael Jackson legend is always going to be, how did she become pregnant? Now, she and Michael, too, always insisted that they did it the old-fashioned way.
10 days after the announcement, Jackson and Rowe eloped.
She was